Hello, in this video, as you can see, we have a question with the graph of photosynthesis, right? And this is the part with the action spectrum and absorption spectrum under the photosynthesis topic. So we will try to explain as much as we can in this topic, in this question. Okay. So the first thing, we must be clear with this graph given here, right? This graph, we should be very clear. Let me redraw the graph with darker colors so that it becomes more visible, maybe, right? So the first one is this one. This graph goes this way, comes this way, goes this way, and then it increases here, goes up here, right? This is for chlorophyll A, right? For A, right? And then we have another one. Let us draw it in yellow color. So other one starts here. It moves this way, and then it moves here. Then it moves this way here, right? This is the second one. This one is chlorophyll B, right? So this one is chlorophyll B. Yeah. And then we have the third one. The third one is the action spectrum. So we may need to draw that as well, so that it becomes obvious. Action spectrum coming this way. Okay, then it goes this way, and then it comes this way here. Okay. So these are three graphs. Now these are the graphs. Now if we will discuss them, we'll be more fair. Okay, we'll see what is actually happening. So the first graph is chlorophyll A, right? Then there is chlorophyll B, and this one is action spectrum. So we have three graphs. This should be covering here, and they should be moving through here, right? We have three graphs here. So we have to compare the absorption spectra of chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. How will we compare? Now what happens here, the mechanism, if you want to understand the mechanism, then probably you need to understand this thing first. That this chlorophyll contains several things. Among many, I mean, there are these pigments. Okay, these are the most common pigments. Okay, there are these accessory pigments. I think we should just write it here. There are accessory pigments, and then there are these photosynthetic pigments. Now these pigments, these photosynthetic pigments, like chlorophyll, okay, they normally take the energy, the light energy, and they send it to photosystems, right? And so it can go on to photosynthesis. This energy goes to photosystems, right? And this energy and the energy absorbed by accessory pigments normally go for the other processes. But now, the first thing we should understand is, why do plants appear as green, right? So plants simply appear green because when these photosynthetic pigments are given out, when the photosynthetic pigments are given out, I mean when they are present, they absorb the range of they absorb all other light except green. Green they give out, okay? They let it go through it. They do not absorb, so green is given out. And that is the thing that we are supposed to be observing here, comparing the absorption spectra and chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. So first we have to distinguish between chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. So we have to say that that first thing we have to connect this lower wavelength to blue, right, and this higher wavelength to red. This is the first thing, that from 600 to 700, around this much, we are supposed to connect it in to red, and this one we are supposed to connect it to some more blue, okay? This range is blue. That's the first thing you're supposed to do. Then we should know that in the blue region, chlorophyll B has a higher peak, while chlorophyll A has a higher peak in red light. Okay, I mean it absorbs mostly the red light, and you should know that this is the rate of photosynthesis. Okay, so the rate of photosynthesis is higher when it reaches to 650 wavelength. Okay, here it's in the peak. We should be quoting the peak, right? We should have the peaks written down here. Here is around 670, and here the peak is around 460. Okay, so we should be quoting the peaks in comparisons. So that's the thing, we have to keep the peaks, okay, all the two peaks. Then we have to link 450 to blue light, and this one we have to link to red light, and then little absorption between 400 and 600 in green light. Okay, 500 to 600, there is little absorption, as we can see over here. Then the other thing we are supposed to be explaining is the shape of the action spectrum. Action spectrum. Now why is this action spectrum the way it is? Okay, the reason behind this is simple. It's simply because this region over here, you should know that this region over here, maybe I should use a thinner ink, this region, okay? And let me use an arrow this time. This region is a region of accessory pigments. Right? And because the accessory pigment, it does not go up to as low as this one, okay? Because the action is being taken also with the accessory pigments. But when we talk about chlorophyll A specifically, we'll be doing something else. So we don't have to mention these all points over there. So let's see what happens here. Explain the shape of the action spectrum. So the action spectrum has higher peaks, okay, in the blue and red region, showing that there is the blue and red regions, the photosynthesis is taking place more and which means that the blue and red pigments are absorbed the most. Okay, and if the red and blue wavelengths are absorbed the most, which this means what? This means the color at the middle here around 525. This region is green, right? Here it's green. So the color that will remain will be green, and green will be the one emitted. So the shape of the action spectrum, it has two peaks in the sides in the blue and red region, and there is a slope or a crater kind of shape at the middle, which also is filled up with which is not as low as it is for chlorophyll and chlorophyll B, because there are some accessory pigments present also. See, peaks in blue and are higher than peaks in red light. Chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B. Now this is another thing. This is the first explanation. Now here, absorbed light used for photosynthesis, higher rate of photosynthesis in red and blue light. So with the same thing we say that actually this rate of photosynthesis is same as if it was written absorption, okay? Because if there is more absorption, automatically there will be higher rate of photosynthesis. So if they are telling you the rate of photosynthesis is increasing, it simply means that the rate of absorption is increasing. So if when I explain the action spectrum, we should start with absorbed light used for photosynthesis, higher rate photosynthesis in red and blue light, and action peaks, higher rate photosynthesis. Okay, action peaks correspond to absorption peaks. Okay, action peaks corresponds to absorption peaks. These peaks over here, this corresponds to absorption peaks. Okay, these peaks, there is more there is the highest red light absorbed. Okay, and then blue shorter wavelength light has more energy. Okay, this one will have more energy than this one. Okay, should also know that. And other thing, not an exact match between absorption and expression in middle region. Middle region is sort of ambiguous. So the first, the one thing, there are three things to note actually in this diagram. Okay, there is, I mean, in this action spectrum, there are three things to note. What are those? First, higher rate of photosynthesis in red and blue light. So this is the first point to note, this one. Okay, and the second point is this one. Not an exact match between absorption and action spectra in middle region. So role of carotenoid pigments in the middle region. Okay, this is the second point is this whole, and then blue or shorter wavelength light has more energy. Action peaks, higher rate of photosynthesis correspond to absorption peaks. This all other this means action peaks corresponds to absorption peaks. Just believe this. Action peaks corresponds to absorption peaks. Yeah, which we can also see here. So this is the third thing we should be noting here. That action peaks corresponds to the absorption peak, and then blue shorter wavelength light has more energy. This simply just contribute to the point given already. So hopefully by that we will be done with this question. And then the last question is explain why plants appear green. So plants contain chlorophyll, and green light is the blue, green and yellow green is reflected. Okay, green, blue green and yellow green is reflected. So chlorophyll contain so the color of chlorophyll is green color. Okay, you should remember this color actually. We say blue green is for if I'm not mistaken, blue green has a thing to say. Okay, so blue green from my book here, it says it's special for chlorophyll B. Maybe you can use red color over here. This blue green is for chlorophyll B and yellow green is for chlorophyll A. So chlorophyll A will emit yellow green and this one will emit blue green, so the eventual color will be green. Okay, and why is this? Also because it contains chlorophyll. So hopefully this question did not confuse you much over here. And the other question here is explain why increase the concentration of carbon dioxide may increase the rate of production of carbohydrates at high light intensities. So this question does not relate to this topic at all. So we might need to finish this topic right here, right? And hopefully it is well understood. Thank you for listening, and I'll end the video over here.